What's going on, guys? It's me again here on a nice, it's very warm actually, it's like 75 degrees Friday here in North Carolina. It's actually November the 11th, Veterans Day. And first of all, I want to say, as a former combat veteran, I want to say thank you to all the other veterans, men and women that serve this country. Without you guys, I mean, this country wouldn't be what it is right now. So appreciate the sacrifice for our freedom. Those that are still serving, thank you. All my brothers that are still serving, I appreciate it, guys. Y'all hung in there a lot longer than me, and now most of y'all are almost close to retirement, so kind of kicking myself on that. But nevertheless, I've been wanting to do this for a while. This is the review on my first ever tractor. It's the Kioti Ck 3510. You can't see it in CK 3510 HST. It's just a regular base model. It's not the SE model, because there was no SE model on the lot when I was purchasing one. Actually, you couldn't find one anywhere. But this is a 2022. I bought it back in February of this year, of 2022. And to let y'all know, if anybody that's experts on tractors and stuff like this might not be a good review for you, because I'm no expert at all. This is literally the first ever tractor I've ever driven. Now, I've sitting on one before, but this is the first. Once it got here, this is the first thing I've ever driven. Knew nothing about tractors other than watching YouTube. And that's why I'm doing this video for anybody else that's in the market of getting a tractor. I would say YouTube it up, pretty much. YouTube, and finding a Facebook group on tractors. There's several of them on there. I joined one that was a Kioti tractor group, and I actually joined it after I purchased this. But there's a lot of benefits to being on one, because then you can go in there and see what everybody likes, don't likes on those. And there's been several comments on there of guys that are appreciative of the form, because they were able to get on there and read other guys' perspectives on the tractor, and it pretty much solidified them coming from, let's just say, a John Deere to a Kioti, or a Kubota to a Kioti. But me personally, what put me into this tractor was my buddy, Graham, at work. He bought one about a year ago, or a year and a half ago now, and he had a buddy who had one also. Hands down, they said they loved it. For the price, you couldn't compare it to anything else, and what you get with it. So that's what steered me in this direction. I trust him because he's actually one that researches everything to the T. And I think if he's going to buy something, then I think it's already pretty safe for me to go ahead and consider purchasing one. So with that said, this is my very first ever tractor. I've learned a lot from being on one, just sitting on it, and you're always having to do a 360, everything, your attachments to the front. But I love it. I would say I wish I'd have had one a while back if I could afford it back then. But I do believe if you own 2 to 3 acres, you don't have to have something this big, but if you can afford it, get a tractor. I'm telling you, I'm getting older, my back, my shoulders, everything's starting to hurt all the time, and I'm trying to live a longer life comfortably. And I can't lift stuff like I used to, and I don't want to even try it because I end up hurting myself. So this right here by far has been the ticket. And I would venture to say I'll probably have one for the rest of my life. But with that being said, I purchased this thing February 2022 from Y&W Farm Central Incorporated, or Inc. In Madison, North Carolina. Hands down, one of the best experiences I've ever had with purchasing any equipment. Like I said, this is the only place I actually went to, because they were the only ones that had the tractor at the time. But I went right in on a Saturday. They were closing at 12. There was already 2 people in line. So I waited my turn. Graham went with me. Wasn't there 15, 20 minutes while Mr. Webb, Stephen Webb, shout out to you, was dealing with some other customers. And then when I got up to him, I said, hey, I want this tractor. He's like, okay. And took me around there, we looked at it. Just a good guy. Like, I mean, They don't make them like that anymore, pretty much. But hands down, did all the paperwork. Didn't take that much time. I would say 30, 45 minutes. And he's like, all right, man, I'll deliver it to you this date. I did hackle him a little bit on this sweatshirt. I said, you gonna give me a sweatshirt now that I spent all this money in here? And he's like, him hauling around, we're laughing about it, but he had forgot. And when we were leaving, I was like, you gonna let me get a sweatshirt? He's like, I'll go ahead and get it. So yeah, if you go in there and purchase one, get on and see if it'll give you a sweet sweatshirt. But I think it's paid off, especially putting in this video. I'm not sponsored in any way. I just want to throw it out there, good experience. In the central North Carolina area, you've got Madison with Y&W, and you also have, I think it's Reedy Creek that's in Lexington. I've heard good experience from both, but I've never been down the Reedy Creek one. But going into this, I've got right at 106 hours, 106.5 hours. I didn't expect to put that much hours on this tractor that soon. If it's anything like my truck, I like to keep the mileage low. But I did a lot of things that were a little bit more time consuming, I would say, or I took my time because I don't want to mess up this tractor. So it might have taken me 2 hours to move some stuff around when actually I could have done it in an hour, or move some trees. But I push it some to its limits, but I try not to because longevity. I want to keep my stuff working nice. And right now you see it's all dirty, just because it's been working and I haven't washed it yet. But going to Mr. Webb, I'll say, going back to that before I get into the full review of this, just to show you what kind of guy Mr. Webb is, Stephen Webb, and also Billy Smith. Billy wasn't there when I purchased it, but he's been in contact with me through social media and text. Just anything I need, hey, let me know. But with Stephen, like I said, I purchased the tractor in February. He delivered it to me. And then I get a phone call and he's like, hey man, I think I overcharged you about $1,000 some on that tractor. Which, number one, that's never heard of these days with anybody that's selling you something. They'll either sell it to you, and if there's a mistake, they're just hoping you won't catch it and they pocket the extra cash. He's like, nah man, you're about $1,000 over on something. You can either get an extra implement or I'll just cash you the rest of the money. So I was like, okay, well that's pretty honest. So I start thinking about getting forklifts and all that stuff. Then I get a message back and it says, oh, I'm sorry. Apologizing again. He's like, never mind, actually everything is correct. I guess in the hustle and bustle, he thought he had charged me for an SE model, the SE model of this, in which he would have owed me back that $1,000, but it wasn't that the case. So he did charge me the right amount for this, but I thought it was outstanding that he was willing to, hey, my bad, I was going to give you $1,000 or put in the implement. He's all about making things right. Also, when he did deliver it, I did have a tiny little leak on a hydraulic line, barely a couple drops on it on the ground after he left. He also gave me his phone number. He's like, if you need anything, let me know. This is a personal cell phone number. So I ended up texting him saying, hey, this is the problem, show him a picture. He's like, I got you, I'll be down that way in a couple days. So he comes down here, tightens it up, not a problem. Well, it continued to leak. He tightened up a spot, but it was a different little spot. Nevertheless, he got it up and running as fast as possible. I mean, fixed it, coming out here and fixing everything. And I had him on FaceTime. He's like, just FaceTime me and show me what's going on. Which, I mean, you don't get that kind of service anywhere. So I take that long spiel to say I've had nothing but a pleasure experience with Y&W, especially Stephen Webb, and like I said, Billy Smith. That's all doing all the social media stuff, and he's just checking in with me, make sure I have everything. So with that being said, first tractor ever, purchased it due to because I bought some land locally, and I have about 17 acres, and I was wanting to do something to be able to maintain it. So it did come with the Kioti front end lift, the KL 4030C. So I didn't know what the C was about. There's just a regular 4030, but this one, I guess the C stands for curve. Shout out to Mason, Graham's son, because I would never thought what the C was, and he's like, oh, that's probably stands for curve. I was like, that's probably correct. But what it does is it gives you, I believe it's another 100 pounds of a back drag of coming back when you have a bucket on the front of it. So that's the only difference I can think of. And then also I think some of these grease fittings are different in this loader. So going through, when I purchased it, I do have a grapple on the front that is by Rural King. I went up there to I think they're in Martinsville, Virginia, and bought this grapple from them. My buddy Graham, like I said, he's done all the research, and he said, hey, if you're going to get one, go up there and grab one. Now I know they have them down at Y&W, but I held off because I trust Graham. What I like about it, you have all your hoses are pretty much hidden into the tube. Your hydraulic lines going through here, popping out. And you got 2 cylinders on each side. So everything's pretty much protected, and then you got your hose line coming into your third function valve. If I would say if there's 2 implements I could have when I bought this tractor that I needed at the time, would have been the grapple and the box blade. Now I did go ahead and purchase a 5-foot bush hog from Mr. Webb at Y&W, and I thought I was going to use it a lot more than I have. Now I did. I cut down about 10 acres of land of grass down at the land, but I've only used it a handful of times, where the box blade and the grapple I've used, I mean, they stay on the tractor. That's all I need. But if you in the farming area, you know somebody that has a bush hog, you might be able to push that off and be like, hey, ask somebody just to borrow it. But with that being said, going in, I got the grapple coming in to here. I don't have the rubber mat that came in the SE model, so I just got some almost like sticky tape, a grip tape that you would put on like a walkway on a ramp to keep somebody from sliding. So I got some of that, stuck it down just to keep me from sliding. I'm always up and down getting off of here, and then when your feet are wet, that you will slide off. Like I said, it had 106 hours on this thing, 106.5. At 50 hours, I did the manual service on it. I went ahead and changed the filters, put new oil in it, and the hydraulic filters. I also changed out the front axle oil in here. I think they come standard with hydraulic oil in it, but I went ahead and put some axle oil inside of that, and it's super easy. Just undoing the 2 bolts that are on the inside, let it drain, and then you just pour in the new oil. I will say, I would say anybody that purchases one of these, check your front axle oil, because mine was about a quart low when I got it. So it's very simple. Unscrew it, check your level on here for that. Let's see here. I'll try to do just a walk around where I can think of what's helped me out on things. So right here you have your clutch. The clutch goes into putting what gear you need it in, low, medium, high. Again, I was a beginner, so I thought the power, like the first 10 hours I was doing something with a box blade. I kept it in medium because it had a good speed on it. I had no clue that, this is just me being a beginner, putting it in low gives you a lot more power to be able to pull something or push something. So after learning that kind of semi the hard way, and Graham telling me, no, you need to put that in low if you're going to be doing something like that, that's the ticket. So the clutch, your gears, a con on it, and I've noticed other people say sometimes you can't get it in gear. It'll be in neutral and you can't get it to go in the low or the mid, and I don't ever want to try to force anything. But what I found out what I can do is, as long as I'll pick up my implements on the front and the back, make sure that nothing's keeping me stationary. And if anything, I like to, if I can either rock it a little bit and it'll pop into gear, or sometimes just lifting up the implements fixes that right away. It allows it to just slightly, I guess, tires move with the gears, and then I just pop it right into the next one. But I would say never force anything or you end up breaking it. Same thing with 4-wheel drive. So I noticed 4-wheel drive, putting it in 4-wheel drive, when you push it down, perfect, not an issue. And I do almost everything if I want to be pushing or pulling. I'll always put in 4-wheel drive and in low for that purposes. But when I'm done with it, I'll pull it out and it's real stiff. And if it's stiff and I'm trying to pull it up, I don't want to force it again. So what I've known for me personally, I'll put it in neutral or maybe put it in low, and I'll turn the steering wheel. I'll turn the steering wheel left and right, just trying to take off tension off of, I guess, the gears on the axle. And it might take me 2 or 3 times of rotating the wheel, but then after that, I can pop it right up and it's out of 4-wheel drive. So that's me personally. I guess the con of it is not going directly into it. Sometimes you have to shift the machine a little bit for it to slide up. But that's perfectly fine of figuring that out. So I hope that helps somebody else that is thinking about this. Back here is your PTO, the power. Again, rookie, didn't know anything about this. When Mr. Webb dropped it off, he gave me a runaround about it. But when I put my bush hog on the back of it and put it in gear, I was very surprised of how quiet the bush hog was. Like I felt like it was quieter than a regular lawnmower once it just starts running. It's like the tractor masks the sound of it. That might be the case for all bush hogs, but I was expecting a very loud rumbling going on, but that wasn't the case. Putting it in and out. This one is the SE model, so they don't have the automatic cutoff when you lift the implement up and down, which is fine by me. I've had several times where I'm making a lap or I hit something and I want to pull it up. They don't have to automatically cut off. It's still rolling, which is fine. I've never had really an issue with that, but there's some people that like that extra feature. I will say, coming back here to the back, the only pro that I would have with an SE model that I really wanted, or not wanted now, but later on would be nice to have, is your extra hydraulic lines that come on the back. And I think that the hook up a top link to move back and forth, or if you decide to get a backhoe or any other attachment that's on the back that uses hydraulic lines, if I need to go back, I can go have Mr. Webb put some on there, but it's going to cost me that much more money, and then I'm going to have to transport it to him to get it done. So I would say it's highly worth, if there's a SE on the lot, you're in between the SE and another just the standard model, I would have bought the SE solely just because of those hydraulic lines. That's just me. So I wouldn't have to make that drive back and have them put them on. But going further into it, I bought this three-point quick connect for my hitch, not hitch, quick connect for 3-point attachments. It works the best with this box blade and with my bush hog or brush cutter, what everybody wants to say. Just me being lazy. This right here saves you so much time and trying to switch implements in. You simply, I mean, if you have the extra $300, $200, I got this one at Tractor Supply, but anywhere can get it. I wouldn't go cheap, because then, you know, you go cheap, you'll start breaking welds and stuff. Tractor Supply, I bought this one for about $300, bolts right up, and then it just connects. I mean, all you have to do, you don't even, now if you want them off, you just unconnect these, and sometimes I can do it from my chair or from my seat. I can reach back, this will be all the way up, I can unconnect it, and then I can go ahead and set the implement down, and it'll just unhook once you push it down, and then you're fine. And then you can close these back, and then when you go to reconnect, these don't have to be up. These are spring tension, so they can go slide straight on it and go down, just the implement cannot come up out of it. So hands down, if you are trying to change out anything or different implements, it'll save you the 15 minutes of cursing and having to get a hammer and bang stuff around to get this. Now, a con to this is it's adding an extra length to it. So if you can't get stuff on the trailer, you're like very short on the trailer, or whatnot, anything you're thinking about length, you are adding about a good extra three inches here, and maybe another 2 that sets this implement back from the tractor. So just things to think about. It doesn't bother me at all, but thought I'd help somebody else out about it. Coming back to the very back, see, I'm gonna put some light on it. Oh, not a picture. Down here is the cover for your PTO. It just screws right off. This is just a plastic cover, screws off, and I'll throw it in my toolbox. And then we'll just do it more. See, I need to clean it. But here, with my bush hog, I'll come in here. There's little dimples on it, but your bush hog just comes and it clips on. That's all it is. And when you want to take it off, you press a button to slides right off. Very simple and very easy concept. This comes up and down when you're taking it on and off. When you're running it, you want it down because you don't want extra grass coming in here. But you can see I need to clean some of that out for my last run. Here's where your hydraulic fluid goes in. And you'll probably notice there's some moisture. It's been raining and it's humid out here in North Carolina. And then plus, last time I had my tractor out, I had a little bit of rain on it. When I put it in here, you can see there's a couple puddles of water where it finally dripped off, but a little humid in here, so that's why we got condensation. This hydraulic fluid goes in there. Let's see. I have busted both of my tail lights. I was just doing some cutting some trails and getting branches busted, hitting it. But I'll put some tape on this one. Both of my lights, the same thing. I busted both of those. Just branches coming and knocking them off. I can relocate them, put them down here. Don't really know why I got turn signals on this thing. Of course I know you on the road turn signals, but I'm not gonna have this thing on the road really at all. Besides, I did take the kids on a hay ride for Halloween. So I may just actually take these bad boys off and just actually hook in some regular spotlights, either rear or frontward. Actually, it'd be nice to have some in the front as well because of having a bucket on the front and only your headlights get blocked by it. Mentioned this is the box blade by Bevco, 5 foot. You can see, I mean, in 8 months, it's been getting some use on it. You got your, I'm going to get it wrong, scarifiers. I think that's the proper word for it. They go down in different settings to be able to get down in the dirt, and then you can bring it up, just whatever. I like it when I'm doing somebody's driveway. Actually, I've only done a couple of them, but I'll put those all the way down and get the gravel going, take several passes with them all the way down, and then pull it back up, and then I'll use the box blade to smooth it out. I'm no pro at it at all, but it has worked for me to semi get it fixed. Love the box blade. If you want to check out my other video that I've done on my box blade about clearing trails, I've actually used my box blade to literally just push small saplings over about 3 inches, no more than about 4 inches over, and I found out I'm a lot faster with my box blade of clearing a path with saplings than I am with my grapple. I get a lot more power with it because I put it in low, and I can start pushing it backwards. But then once I get it pushed over and I get this up under some of a root or something, I have that much more power picking it up on the back end than I do on the front. If I'm not mistaken, I'm at 1,800, maybe 1,900 pounds on the lift capacity on this thing on the front. I won't get this wrong, but I know I'm over 2,000 on the back. But yeah, I noticed that I was able to do a lot faster box blade. So check out that video if you want to see about my box blade and clearing out some trails in the woods, or clearing out anything if you want to. But love the box blade, like I said, and this one's sturdy by Bevco. I mean, no issues. I've seen some that there's just different weldings that, or some of the material thinner, which just means if it's thinner, it can break a lot faster. Going on, the adjustable, these do not have adjustable arms. You just have to crank them. So that's something that's different on the SE model than on the standard. I haven't had that many issues with it because of having this on here and just quick connecting both of mine. But if you're wanting to move your arms to extend it a little bit, then you might want to go for the SE model. That's a pro. Coming over here, I guess this will be on the right hand side if you're sitting on it. This is for your back, to be able to lift it up and down. Oh, there is my rooster, or Brittany's rooster. This right here is an adjustment for how fast you want your back to come up and down. This right here, I had to have Mr. Webb help me out with, because I guess I cranked it and I could not get this to come up. I wasn't getting anything, I couldn't get it to go up. And if I got it to go up, I couldn't get it to go down. It was issues. So he came, he FaceTimed me, I believe, and he just said, hey, just adjust this little knob right here. So I adjusted it, and that's what happened. So got that fixed. Once you get it set, leave it. Don't mess with it, or you'll be in the same problem. But if you do have that issue, that's what that adjustment's for. Some people I've seen on the forum, their foot will kick it, mess it up, and that should be the first thing you check when your backhand's not going up or down. I had a third function valve put on here. You'll see I got a button, goes up, down. That was extra. It was about $1,300 extra to put this on. But that's the only way I can get my grapple to work. All it is a new handle. Run some lines in here to your third function valve. Third function valve, 2 hydraulic lines that come in right here. And then that's where your grapple will connect your 2 lines in there, your hydraulic lines. So love that by far. That's pretty awesome. Here, your joystick to make your arm go up and down. Also, you got your lock. So if you have your arm up and you're getting off the tractor, or you don't want the front end to come down, you can lock it and it'll lock this arm, so it can't accidentally, a kid or anything nature, if you're off, or this could get bumped, or if you're doing some work and you definitely don't want your front end to move, if you have something held onto it, you can put that in and it locks the arm. Very simple. You got your brake, got your parking brake. The first thing he showed me when he brought me the tractor, Mr. Webb, you're awesome, dude. I'm gonna tell you. And y'all may already know this, but I didn't. I would have been down here trying to bend over. So when you're sitting on it, and with this, you have to have the parking brake on and you have to have it in neutral for it to start. So, and when you're, and if you want to get off the tractor without it cutting off, you have to have parking brake on and you have to have it in neutral. Well, if you push the foot in with your right foot, and here, I'll show you. I'm gonna get up there real quick. I don't know why I think this is pretty cool, but if he wouldn't have showed me this, I would have never thought of it. And it's something simple. So what you do is you just push your right foot on here and you use your left foot to push it forward, and then it latches. Now me, being a rookie, I would have probably done this every time. Pushed it up, having to bend over and do it. So yeah, it's the little things. Really, it's the little things that save you time and stuff. So thank you, Mr. Webb, for that little trick as well. So going into it, parking brake, forward, reverse. I like it a lot better than some other tractors that I've watched some reviews on, the whole rocker pedal, or the front and then your back pedal. A con that I had with this when I did get it, all these hydraulic lines were about hanging down here. So what I did is I just got them on my roller, come under here, and tried to get this as tight and close up tight to the tractor, because that's the first thing when you start going in doing anything. You're gonna get a stick, And if it's hanging down low, it's going to rip a hydraulic line. And you're going to, fortunately, I've been blessed not to have that happen. I've had close calls, but I've just come in here and double checked, and it spent me about 30 minutes trying to get these hoses to flex a little bit and get them to where I can attach it, because you've got your reverse and your forward that you can't impede with either, because if your hose is in front of it, you won't be able to push on it to be able to go reverse or not. So had to mess with that a little bit. I had a little bit rubbing on the front tire, so I had to put another zip tie just to push it over, just to get it where you need it to. But once I got that, I've had no issues since. So hydraulic lines, I'm gonna apologize guys, it's raining. You know, might get a little loud in here, and I might have to pause the video if it does get too loud. And the wind. Up here, you got your throttle where you can idle. You're idling in. If you're doing anything with a PTO, go up here to the 540. Other than that, I keep everything right at the 2000 mark. I will say I've had about, going into this tractor alone, I've gone through three regens, where I've been literally every single time I've had about 15-20 minutes of work left, and then it goes into a regen, and that's pretty much I think it's burning off the carbon particulates that they have for this model, since there's an emissions on it for 35 horsepower. So that's a con in itself, but there's nothing else we can do about that. That's just when you're purchasing one like this. I don't think the 2610s have them, but I know the 35s do. Going back, actually talking about the 3510, 2610, 3510, and 4010, they all come with the same front end loader, and they all have the same lift capacities, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that. I think the only thing difference in is your horsepower. You got your 25, you got your 35, you got your 40, which that gives you all, most of it I believe is in the power of your PTO, or what implements you're pushing back here. And then also probably the power if you're trying to push stuff with your tractor. So that being said, I got a little sidetracked off of it. I think that's everything on here. I did realize with the regen, it'll come up with a light telling you need to do it, and the power of your tractor will go way down. And you basically, when it gets to that point, you just have to push on your regen button, which is this top one. I guess it's where it's showing blowout particulates. You got to press and hold it. Once you start hearing your motor rev up, then you just get off of it and let it do its thing. So I'll push it all the way down, my throttle all the way down. I hit my regen button, press it and hold it, I think for 3 seconds, and then it'll start doing its thing, burning it off, your particulates. If you need to read your manual, but you need to be away from anything real close, because this gets real hot, blowing out exhaust when it's doing a regen, blowing all that stuff. Older models, this exhaust was straight, and I think they've redone it to where it's coming off. And then also I'll lift my arm up, because I've seen some where these hoses on the inside, if you have your arm down, if you're sitting up and you have like a little, not on level ground, and this arm's down in front of this, it has started, I've seen videos or photos of guys' hoses getting melted because of the exhaust being so hot during the regen. And I learned that through the Facebook on the group I was on. Also, going to the Facebook stuff, I know that guys in my group and me, sometimes you'll start seeing guys say the same questions over and over again. It's not the same guys, it's just different guys that join on there. They'll put up a question that's already been asked maybe before they even join. But with Facebook and in those groups, if you just look up in the top right when you're in that group, there's a search button. You can put in transmission fluid, just anything that you can think of that you had a question on. Just search that real quick, because what it'll do is it'll do a search through that whole form, and it'll already have questions that have already been answered, and you can go in there instead of, I'm not saying don't ask the questions, but you'll get some of these old heads that are in there. I guess I ain't gonna say I'm an old head, but you'll see some of the questions up there and ask, and people just don't know that there's that search bar up there. So it's very, very simple. Type it in there, transmission fluid, tire sizes, just whatever you have an issue with. The oil, you'll have a lot of people on your front axle. Oil, what do they want to put in there? If you just type in their front axle oil in that search box, it'll give you, I think it's chronological order, from the earliest dates all the way down to the latest dates. Don't hold me on that part, but I go in there several times and I hit a search button and it'll answer my question before I even have to text anything on there. But if you don't get to that point and there's no question, if you can't find anything, just go ahead and ask the question. There's guys on there, by far, I think they live on that form just to see what they can help and what they can learn from it. So that's my little spiel about it, I guess. I've already talked about my front axle filter. Oh, here comes that rain. I marked it 50 hours and what date I did it on and the weight that I put on it. Yeah, pretty much down to the nitty gritty of it. That's pretty much all I could think of the pros and cons of having a tractor. Oh man, it's rain. But if you can afford it, buy your tractor. I heard the saying, I guess, buy the biggest tractor that you can afford. Not saying anything about money. I mean, I guess I got good credit, which I could have got something a little bit bigger. They had the DK models, which the tractor's a little bit bigger. But talking with my buddy Graham, like I said, he did a lot of research. The CK works so much better because I do stuff around the house also, and I might help out neighbors. And there's several different videos that I posted on here of helping out neighbors with the tractor or using the grapple to help with trees. This doesn't tear up the grass as much. If you're making a couple passes on the grass, you can barely even tell you've been on it. Now, if you keep going up and down the same path, like my buddy Hamilton's, that I mean, we had nothing else we could avoid trying to get that tree out of there. But this, by far, if you're taking it around in your yard somewhere, you're not going to tear it all up. And that's why I stuck with this, the CK series, for residential, and then also down at the land. So that's the reason why I got this bad boy. Some perks, things I asked for Christmas. Harbor Freight now has these automatic grease guns, but before they had it, I saw this. I pretty much wanted it, and I asked for it for my birthday, and it's like 200 some bucks. But it's an automatic grease gun. Yes, I know I'm lazy. I could get just a regular one, but with all these fittings, it takes me. You got one. I think you got 8 on each side, and then I've got, I think, 5 on my grapple. So I can come in here after work, take 2 minutes, grab that, pop it on there, just hit the button maybe twice, go on each one, and I'm out 2-3 minutes and I'm done with it. Versus going to get one and I can pump it all the time. Yeah, I know I'm being lazy, but then I'm also trying to be smart about it and be time consuming stuff as well. So that's pretty much it, guys. I've been wanting to do this review for a while now, but I wanted to get some hours under it, just to say what experience I've had from a beginner, never driven a tractor in my life, to actually having one and owning one. These things are pretty much common sense, knowledge, and safety is key. And for safety also, just take your time with these things. When you sit on it, and I'll tell you, if you've never sitting on a tractor and driven it around, it is awkward. And I'm constantly always having to turn my head left and right, which is not the best with my shoulders. But you always got to be aware what you're around, the radius of when you're turning. You can get out of here and turn around this building and take out this left corner by this tractor. And these tractors are unforgiving too. They're beasts. So you wouldn't even know you were hitting it until the building's almost collapsing. So just be careful with it. But by far, I wish I'd have had one a lot sooner. And I'll probably have one for the rest of my life. We plan to have a little homestead and have one of these bad boys on it. But yeah, so rain's coming in good right now. Appreciate you guys watching, and y'all take it easy. Hey, Stephen, thank you again. And Billy, I'll talk to you soon. All right, y'all take it easy.